Type 9. Type 9. Type 9. Type 9.
guys doing today? Welcome to the Monday live stream. Let's get started. A little bit of a thingy. All right, welcome into the live stream. Great to have you guys here on this awesome Monday morning. Lots of stuff to cover today, including our crystal ball prediction of oil from last week. Actually, just give me 1 minute. I'm gonna turn the screen the other way. Just give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. I'm here. Great, welcome in. Good morning. Nice to have you guys here. So let's get started today with the live stream. I apologize if it is lagging a little bit. My internet is not doing too well in Indonesia, but I hope that it's going to be sufficient to live stream. Oh boy, I think it's definitely lagging. Sure. And I can't figure out why. Okay, I'm gonna try and continue to do it, but slowly. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. Had to restart the stream. Okay, let's see if we can get started here. Okay, so for the news, I just want to go through the basics of what we're seeing today on news. As you all know, if you have been to this live stream before, you know that my motto is to read the news for entertainment purpose and nothing more. For the main reason being that the news always misleads us and always tells us when to buy or when to sell. And if you actually do the inverse of what the news says, you will often come out on top. So when the news is telling you, oh, stocks are about to rally to all-time highs, that's exactly when you should be selling. And when stocks are saying, when the news headlines are saying, oh, we are in the most biggest sell-off in the decade and the recession is here, we're gonna die, we don't have any more toilet paper, that's when you should be buying stocks. So we have top news today that oil is extending its slide, which we have talked about extensively on our previous live streams. If you were here for those live streams, you would have capitalized on this trade. We have been talking about crude sliding for a while now. And if you're from Option Swing, you would see I actually made a post about that, about oil not long ago, just to show you guys what oil has been doing ever since I called it out on the channel. We've had a huge drop in price. I think it was consolidating during this level, and I said that we are in a phase where oil is going to slide further because of oversupply and under demand, and the reason being, that we don't have much global consumption, but OPEC is not cutting enough supply, and Russia continues to pump, and the rest of the world continues to pump. We don't have a balance. Hence, oversupply under demand equals to prices dropping. And I continue to see this to go down. Possibly you'll see a little bit of a relief rally on oil, maybe back up to $13 to $14 sometime this to next week before further extending its downward trend. Um, but we will be keeping an eye on that, and we will be purchasing USO and other kinds of oil companies in the US equities to capitalize on this trade on a later date. So keep your eyes on oil. My projected price to buy oil aggressively would be around between, I want to say, $6 to $8. And so that's when I would be possibly taking some aggressive positions. Okay, I hope Discord loads because I'm trying to show you a post that I made there, but it's not letting me, so I guess I'm going to leave it be. Another thing is China Mobile lost 4 million subscribers. That's actually pretty bad. I'm not sure why that would happen. Virgin Airlines needs a bailout. Singapore, which is the country that I'm from, is having a huge amount of cases right now, but they're linked to like foreign workers in the country. And China goes offensive in Hong Kong for election reasons. So one thing that we haven't, taken into account is that this year is an election year for many countries. This is something that we should be keeping an eye on. It's the election year for Singapore, election year for, the U.S. There are quite a few countries in the world that are going to be holding elections this year. So a lot of things could happen, and governments will take every single thing that they can and do to earn the votes of their people. And what was the other stuff that I wanted to say? Oh yes, on Wall Street. So there was also this U.S. Secretary saying that he's reaching a small deal for almost closing a deal about 300 some billion for small businesses, including some other essential businesses, I believe. And then volatility is back on the rise. Okay, so let's get straight into the technical analysis today. For macros, I don't really have a whole lot to say except for we are still going to see companies posting terrible earnings, which we are expecting. So don't expect the earning reports to move the market in a big way. Although if we do have some surprises, it's definitely going to cause a stir. Also, for pre-market movers, we have a bunch of biotech companies, and they're all trading in excess of 1 million shares. Taronis Tech is TRNX. I believe that we saw this last week as well. Nova Bay Pharmaceuticals is up 92%, but these are all penny stocks. You can see the prices are all very low. I avoid all these kinds of stocks trading because they can be manipulated pretty easily. So these volumes are not really that big if you come to think of it, since the price is so low. So not really much pre-market movers from big names. However, we have been seeing SPY kind of sell off here a little bit since the Asian markets opened today, and we've been seeing a kind of a rally. It failed to hold the 200 EMA and has broken below, so expect SPY to come back up to test this once again, and if we fail to break above these moving averages, we will continue to be pressured in a downward movement. Now, the story goes back to SPY, where we've been looking at, on previous live streams, I have mentioned we initially thought this was a dead cat bounce, where we were going to see this kind of a movement, where the A, B, C wave was going to be like that, and then into the D, right? But now we saw that SPY actually rallied on low volume, right? And the reason for the low volume, as I mentioned on the previous live stream, was the lack of sellers. And when you have oversupply, when supply is more than demand, you have selling. But when you have demand that's more than supply, right, you have buying. So in this case, there was no supply, no short sellers who wanted to short the market in this rally up. Hence, we had a squeeze of prices from these levels. Now, as we see SPY or SPX, I'm looking at SPX, but you understand this is SPY as well, so it's the same thing. Except for SPY is the ETF, this is the actual index. When we reach up this level here, I did mention that these are two Fibonacci retracements that I've drawn. One for the high to the low, and then the extension from the low to the high back to where we are right now. And I mentioned in the live stream that we could possibly go even higher to touch the 61.8. We are seeing kind of a topping out pattern. And if this candle closes here and we see another red candle, this is actually going to be a bearish reversal pattern. So we can wait and see what happens here. And I did mention in a previous live stream, I see us going down to the possibility of the 61.8, 38.2, and those will be two possibilities for us to test. So the up A, B, C, D to this level before heading up to the next wave. As we know, stocks never move in a straight line up like that, or indexes never move the same way. We always have a wave pattern, always a impulsive wave followed by a corrective wave, followed by an impulsive wave, followed by a corrective wave, and you get the pattern. And the reason why retail investors always get screwed is because the news always says good stuff here on the top, and that's when they all buy, and they say, oh, the economy is doing great and we are in a bull market, and then people buy, and then this darn thing goes down. And then over here is when they say, oh my God, we are seeing the worst time of our economy and the recession is going to cause everything to die. And this is when traders sell and they exit their positions only to get screwed again on this big rally that they miss out. So you can see what's happening here, and this is how we should not get caught. Obviously, I may be completely wrong, but this is my analysis, and me doing this for about 6 years, I've started to realize that if you inverse what the news says, and you buy when when the news is saying to sell, and you sell when the news is saying to buy, you're more than likely gonna actually come out ahead majority of the time. And so this is the bull case scenario where we have the retracement here and then the next wave up. However, the bear case scenario would be that we fall all the way to the 100% retracement, and then we break this level. So this would be the key level to watch if we are looking at a break, which should be 241, I want to say 240, 242, 243, something like that. That would be a key level to watch for SPY, so that we can ascertain if we do break this, we will see SPY go down to test the bottom again, and this would be a forced double bottom. Basically, this is kind of like a classic market maker move, where you see the thing is that majority of market makers know that people are gonna employ their stop losses all in this region right here, and the reason for that is because they want to set their stop losses here for long positions, so that if SPX comes down to hit it, it's not going to hit this moving average, but they set them a little lower. So market makers, they would push the price down because they know where your stops are, and then they would push all those stop limit orders out and then reverse course so that the market can rally. So keep your eyes on these both scenarios. I always like to give the bull and the bear case right now because I want to avoid being polarized. And I think it's just a good practice to engage in understanding what the bull may think and what the bear may think. I think that's a more a better way to look at things. So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown for today. I don't see much else. I see a red open today, and I think SPY is going to continue to have some downward pressure unless we can see a rally out of this channel that it's forming. And yeah, so obviously, this is a break here already, so we can see what's going to happen today. Great. So let's get some questions rolling today. Let's see what you guys have in store for me. I'm willing to take any questions that you have, answer some questions. If this is your first time here, like and subscribe. Like that video, it really helps me a lot, honestly. Like if you press the like button, it's gonna engage and kind of make YouTube have all these wondrous juices that come out like So let's get some questions rolling. I know that you guys have some questions, so post them here and I'll answer them. By the way, for somebody who was asking me the last time um, on a question on how to use TOS, I have actually posted a video, two videos on the video section of our chat. So please go check that out. I did as you asked and went and put a video there so that you can go take a look. And okay, so now that I got Discord up and working, I wanted to show you the post that I made about oil on the 16th, which is on Thursday last week. Well, not Thursday. I think it was, yeah, Thursday. Sorry. So this is before oil started selling aggressively. For people who are not on our Discord, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I also posted this on Instagram. But if you haven't looked at the post, I want to give you the explanation on why oil is selling off. So the first thing is that demand has fallen about 30 to 35%, and so supply needs, to be about 65 million barrels, but we are at 95, so there's an excess of 30 million barrels per day. It's an oversupply, which is causing the oil glut. And since OPEC and OPEC Plus have agreed to 3 cuts, it's been spanned over 2 years, which is a long time. It's causing a lot of anxiety for people holding long oil positions. So the proposed cuts are for 9.7, 7.7, and 5.8, spread over 2 years. And so this is a problem because the oversupply right now doesn't get solved. And this is kind of a figure that will show you I did a small rough Excel so that you can kind of have a look at it. So this is the global consumption. This is the new global consumption. The current supply, the oversupply is 30. And then if you take into account the adjusted supply after the cuts, we're still in an oversupply because we need 65 to be the mark and we are at 71. So we need a cut of about 10 to 15 million barrels per day in order for oil prices to stabilize. And until OPEC doesn't do this, we're going to see oil continue to sell off. Just the basic fundamentals don't make sense at all. All right. Cool. So let's answer some questions here. Thank you very much for the comment. I have some JDST calls. What is JDST? Let's see. What's that? Gold miners. Oh boy. Are these one of those inverse ETFs or something? I hope not. Let's see. I want to get this out. I'm so sorry about the lag, guys. Honestly, my internet is so bad here. I'm gonna quit this so that I just have a bit more bandwidth. I'm not sure if this is a question, but maybe let me know what you're thinking. If you have JDST, I want to know what you're asking. Good morning. Do you think VZ will break $60? Great. So let's have a look at VZ. Verizon Communications. I like that company. One of the few companies that are coronavirus proof. Telecommunications. So I don't expect them to get hit hard. They are, possibly one of the good buys. Looking into the coronavirus. So let's see if this chart will load up for me. Let's see here. Okay, so the question is, do you think Verizon will break $60? Okay, so that's a great question. Definitely it does look like a very bullish formation or a bullish pattern. From what I see, let's break it down together. I'm going to use blue. So we have the 50 moving below the 150 and the 200, 50 starting the curve up. We have a great recovery from the bottom. And recently Verizon has broken above this key support, which was acting as a resistance. You can see that, right? This is a key resistance level that was once support, and now it has broken above it, this candle right here. It looks very bullish to me in the short term. Definitely seems like it's going to go up to test the $60 mark. However, you might want to be careful here, since such a strong rally coupled with the expected slide on SPY, which we are expecting to come down to this level, may cause Verizon to sell off, and it would make sense for Verizon to come down before moving back up. So I wouldn't get short expiries. If you want to buy Verizon as an option, I would go long expiry, go June, July, August, something like that. Don't go 50 to 80 days at least, okay? Don't take the chance anymore. I would go for the 60 strike, but take it for July, August, something like that. Closer to elections when the economy is going to be, not the economy, but the market's going to be a little more receptive to going back towards all-time high. Can you check and advise to hold or sell JDST? Okay, I'll look at JDST a little bit later. Good morning, T. What's your thoughts on GLD and gold at this moment? Great question. Okay, so let's look at gold because I've been looking at gold for a while. It seems to me like gold has found a top. I personally like the idea of not really shorting gold here, but waiting for another long entry possibly. Gold has been on a very strong test of the 200 moving average and still on a much larger uptrend, as you can see. I see it definitely coming back sometime in the future to test the 50 moving average. I'm looking at everything on the daily chart, by the way, guys. So I always do my analysis on the daily. And then after you do it on the daily, if you are looking for an entry and an exit, you zoom into the 15-minute to find your entry and exit. And so just want to show you how I'm doing my analysis. So I like to keep my analysis as simple as possible. For gold, we have OBV, which is the on-balance volume as well, doing pretty good. It's holding steady at this. You can see the on-balance volume is this very thin line that I have drawing through the charts. So the on-balance volume remains on the high side. We can see between 20 to 24% of shares are being retained in this volume. However, you may see a downward extension before the next rally up. And so hence, I don't advise buying gold here. If you're holding your position and it's an option for a call, I would consider rolling them out into a later contract. What's your opinion on next Netflix? I'm sure earnings will beat, but being its recent 52 high, 50, would you believe that earning is already priced in? Definitely, some of it has been priced in already. With Netflix, the case is always that don't forget that earnings are a gamble. Anytime you play it, it's always a 50-50 flip. It's like taking a coin and flipping it. But my guess would be that earnings has already been priced in with this big rally here. An increase of about, I want to say, what is this, 360 to 450. That's $90. That's a really big move up, guys. And I think Netflix earnings has been priced in at this point. However, if you want to make a bullish bet, I would buy, out the money calls, make it a risky kind of a bet so that you have good risk to return ratio. If you're betting ERs, I recommend going like $500 calls here. And just play the flip to the upside because that could possibly happen. But as I said, ERs, and I don't recommend playing ERs because I honestly don't play ERs unless I really find a fundamental of a company really strong. But I personally have gotten burnt by Netflix before, and so it's left a bad taste in my mouth. So I avoid playing that. But I definitely think that it will beat ER, and some of it has been priced in. And how's oil and gold are correlated? None of them are correlated. However, they are both safe haven assets in some way. Oil is a commodity, but it's a risk asset. People view oil as a storage of capital, you can say, because oil is a finite resource, and so it's projected that if sometime in the end of when oil production slows down, then and we don't have much oil left in the world, this is good as a hedge in your portfolio. Gold is exactly the same way. It's a finite resource. If the gold mine is found tomorrow, then gold prices become unstable and such. So they're not correlated in any way except for the asset class that they belong to. They're kind of risk assets. That's the only way they're similar. Is there a reason not to buy expirations further out just to be safe? Of course, yes. There is a reason why not to buy expirations further out. Because they cost a lot. Let's say you were to play Netflix and you played November contracts for $500. Those contracts would be super expensive. But however, if you can afford it, then why not? I would recommend going as far as possible most of the time. And 50 to 80 days is usually 50 to 80 days always gives you a good blend of Greeks. I recommend 50 to 80 days as your options horizon. How is there only like 8 likes? Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, honestly, if you hit this like button, that's gonna like I really appreciate that, honestly. And leave like a comment or something, that would be nice. I want to read what you guys have to say. Do you want me to hold these JDST calls or sell? I read they're going to reversal the shares. If they're gonna reverse the shares, they don't make a difference to you, man. If they're gonna reverse split, that doesn't make a difference to your options. How do you see the market pricing in inflation we're going to see with all this printing? Well, so this is a very loaded question that requires a pretty big explanation, but it has a lot to do with the debt cycle, right? See, essentially right now you have everything that the Fed, right? Let me see if I can do this instead. Hold on one second. Okay. Oh yeah, this is why I love my Surface Pro. Okay, so this is the Fed, okay? And essentially the Fed is now lending dollars, right, to corporations. I'm just gonna make you guys laugh because I cannot draw for nuts. Let's just call this corps because these are corporations, okay? And they do that by buying treasuries, right? And when they buy treasuries, these treasuries get put into, oh, sorry. Let's see, where's my eraser? Oh, never mind. Okay, these treasuries get put onto the balance sheet, right? Now the balance sheet is like a big list of things that the Fed is now taking on from all the corporations and giving them cash in return. Okay, now when the Fed does this, okay, when you buy treasuries, right, what happens is there are less treasuries in the open market, right? And if there are less treasuries in the open market, then that causes the interest rate environment. Oh boy. Sorry. Okay. So what is this going to do for inflation? It's going to possibly cause their inflation target to go haywire, right? Because by buying all these treasuries, they're pumping money into the system, and that makes the existing money which is in the system worth less, right? So the inflation that is created by this is going to have to be combated by the Fed doing a reverse buyback later on. So what they'll do is essentially they'll tell every corporation in the future to pay back the monies, right? You pay back the monies, and then they'll sell those treasuries back out. So the instability of this that is going to be caused is definitely priced into some degree, but it's not. It's not. Oh boy, it's not right. It's not priced in right away. So. And then they'll sell those treasuries back. Okay, and then let's see. When do you buy into options? What volume open interest do you like to see? Okay, let's have a look at that. So I usually buy options on extreme swings. Okay, and a good example is, for example, here, for Netflix, right? I would buy a put option possibly here. Why? Because simple, right? I have the thesis that SPY may come down, right? It's a kind of a working thesis, right? And if I know that SPY is about to come down, then what I will do is I will go ahead and short Netflix here on the high. I don't like to buy things I don't like to short when it's going to be here. I like to short when it's here or here. And since we are close there, you could definitely short that. Now, as for volume, this is pretty decent volume already, right? Compared to this day right here, we've been seeing kind of nice volume all about, and we're seeing increasing volume. So you may see volatility from Netflix, and I think shorting Netflix, for example, is a good play here. But For volume, open interest, you want to see it in the thousands, hopefully, if you can find a good contract. And that would be a good start for getting into the option. When do you think about VIAC? Do you see it dropping later this week? VIAC. Via comms. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look at this. I've never looked at this ticker before, so while that loads, let's see if I can answer a different question. AMD looks like it rallied off an inverse head and shoulder on the daily. You see it testing 8 ATH before coming down. Yeah, I was looking at AMD. Looks very, very strong. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So the question was, do you see it dropping lower this week? I think it might go higher before it goes lower, but definitely, well, actually, it's starting to show making higher lows, which means I think it's going to continue this channel upward to kind of maybe hit this moving average and then plateau out before selling off further. That's what I would see with VIAC if you were asking. It is engaged in a very, very strong downward pattern. As you can see, all moving averages below, candlesticks trading below. I definitely sense this as a very strong downward pattern. However, in the short term, I think if you're saying next week, the question is for next week, right? Then by the next week, I think that, this week. This week, I think it's going higher. I think it's going higher before it goes lower. So be careful with how you do the analysis. The thing is also look at the OBV starting to come in a little bit. As I said, you might see some buying before the selling. So I wouldn't, well, actually, this is not a bad spot to get short. However, you could find a better spot. I'm pretty sure that a better opportunity will come. So don't rush into it. Wait for the trade to come to you. And let's see AMD, because that's something I was looking at too. Okay, do you think target prices will still go up? Okay, AMD, yeah, inverse head and shoulders, I see it right there. So these are the two shoulders, this is the head right there. Very bullish formation. I see AMD going to at least this resistance right here before reversing, which is going to be the $59 mark. So definitely gonna see what you want to. Okay, here's how you play AMD now. Okay, the thing about it is volume is very high, and this movement on the stock with these gaps and stuff like that, these need to be filled. So here's how you play AMD. You wait for the run up. You do not buy a call or a put at this scenario because you don't know what's going to happen. Okay, you wait for the run up and you see if it breaks this level with big volume. It needs to be at least higher than these. Okay, from the past few days, you need to see something like this one. Okay, if it breaks on there, you can go long AMD. If it doesn't and it comes down, let's say AMD goes up like this, right, and the candlestick's like this, and then it closes and the next day it opens up like this, do not take this as the buy signal. Do not, because this could be a candle that comes back down like that. So you have to be careful. What you have to wait for is this candle and then maybe another one, right, close above, and then the third one has to close above and validate this level as a support. It has to try to come down, test it, and fail in order for you to take the upside. If it doesn't do any one of these things, then you play AMD to the downside. That's how you play AMD in this scenario, in my honest opinion. Even though I really love the stock, I love NVIDIA and I love semiconductors this year, I'm extremely bullish on all of them. However, this is a very, very sensitive, price, a price level. It's a very strong supply zone in my opinion. So be careful when you're playing AMD like this. And that's how I would play it. Okay, and then do you still think target prices will go up? Let's see, Target, TGT, Target. It's another retail stock that's probably going to boom because of the coronavirus. By the way, thank you once again for coming in, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Well, I shouldn't hit it myself, but hit that like button if you like what we're doing here. And yeah, show some love, in the comments, stuff like that. So Target looks like it is. Ooh, this one's interesting. So it could go up, but it's at a very crucial level here, Target. I would wait till the 50 moving average curls above the 150 and the 200 like this. Wait for that to happen, and then enter the long once you see the test of this support. So I'm guessing that you're going to see a couple of candles here, here, something like that, and then a test of a candle here, and then even maybe a break, a false break, something like that, and then a rally back up. You want to make sure that it validates this as a support, and at the same time the moving average crosses above for the bull case. OBV still pretty low in my opinion. Hasn't come out of this bearish kind of a stance. I think this has been rallying on low volume. Hence there are not much sellers in this market possibly. Only buyers of Target. That's the reason why the price has shot up so much. You see how this is also low in volume. You can see that really clearly. So be careful with stocks like that. Okay, what is your opinion on dominance pizza in regards to options, and also do you have any online classes to teach us about this? I'm in the process of curating a online class on Teachable. I will have something for you guys within the next few months. However, for right now, I have a lot of free material on YouTube, and I'm working on completing the technical analysis series for you guys. By the way, just a heads up, almost going to be done with that one. I'm expecting to release it within the next few days. The next one's going to be on support resistance. How do I use these to determine price action combined with the rest of it? And then it's all going to come together really nicely in a, pretty much like a seminar where you can do all of them together and get a really good understanding of technical analysis. So DPZ is another one of those movers that have been actually very pro Corona stock. So coronavirus has actually caused this stock to pop, and I think it's going to make a big move soon. I believe earnings is maybe around the corner as well, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure exactly, but DPZ is one of them that has a huge gap that got filled downwards, and now it's starting to go back up on a trajectory upward. This is kind of a similar to a AMD kind of a scenario. You never want to buy at this level here. Wait for it to test the top. If it fails to break on high volume, you need a volume that's at least that big for this. In order to break, it has to break on that kind of volume above, validate the support, and then you get long DPZ. If it doesn't do any one of those things, do not engage in a long position here. You can get burnt. What you can do is, if it fails to break this level here, take shorts, buy puts, and play it about 50 to 80 days out. Yep, the premium is going to be more expensive, but it'll be worth it, believe me. Cool. So, what's your morning routine? News sites, charts, tickers? How many stocks do you usually watch in a day? Morning routine is pretty much what I'm doing with you guys right now. This is part of my morning routine. The news outlets that I use are Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal. I don't read any other news outlets because I find them either extremely biased or just not as competitive. And then they don't give me as good, interesting stuff. Charts wise, I look at my favorite 10 stocks that I like. My 10 stocks usually are, I'll pick usually semiconductors, some from tech, like Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and then I'll do Nvidia, AMD, I'll do Qualcomm. I'm very heavy on tech most of the time because that's what I enjoy trading. I also like Uber, and then there's also, what is the last one? Yes, NEE, that's been part of my watch list recently. And then how many stock tickers do you usually watch? I usually watch about 10. I like to stick with 10 to 15 at maximum, and then I don't deviate from those. I just watch those. Where do you see volume for pre-market movers? You can go to investing.com, or you can go type pre-market movers in Google, and it should pop up as investing.com on the first one, and then check out the pre-market movers from there. It should show you these right here with the volumes aggregated for you. What are your thoughts on DAL? Oh, LUV. Okay, so airlines, right? I have been, I'm a little split on this right now. Let's do DAL because I wanted to play UAL actually, but I feel like I've already been priced out, so I haven't looked at the airline sector yet. Given that big tech is going up, would you be bullish on Intel ER this week? Well, Intel is a semiconductor company. It's not exactly big tech, but I see what you're saying. Like since tech is rallying, would you go play Intel ER? Once again, disclaimer that ERs are a 50-50 flip. So you could be bullish all you want on Intel, but I'm just telling you that when you play an ER, there are just far too many things for you to bet on that will make that ER a perfect pick. It's going to be a very, very low chance that you'll succeed in picking it successfully because there are just too many things going on right now for you to make that pick accurately. Okay. DAL. Wow. Crazy. So I really like the prospect of getting long airlines. However, I don't like the prospect of getting long airlines now. I like the prospect of getting long airlines for the future and buying very far out options, which means that you're looking at December or January. Like I'm not even looking August and September because the way this coronavirus is going, I do not think that we will even see resolve done until August, in my opinion. And even when vaccines do come out, let's say a vaccine comes out somewhere here, it needs time to be produced before consumers start traveling. It's going to be a long while. Oh, by the way, this is my very nice attempt at drawing a plane. So for that reason, if you want to play airlines, play long options, buy like a very out the money call. Like for example, for DAL, I would do like a $40 call and play it for January of next year. That way you're safeguarded. Love your insight. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I thank you for attending. Honestly, thank you guys very much for being here, for giving me your time, and I hope that this live stream helps you out. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a great trading day. Does anyone have any other questions? I was gonna stick around and see if anyone has any last questions. But if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna end the live stream right here. Love all you guys. Thank you for being here. Smash the like button if you haven't already. If you just came in, leave a comment. I love reading those kinds of things. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for being here. All right, I'm gonna just wait like 20 seconds to see if anybody else has any questions. In the meantime, let's see what SPY is doing. Yep, SPY is still kind of testing this lower bound level here. I think that we are gonna break and go further down today at market open. The momentum is there. Or we may see a big rally up in the bid to break this level here and then a bounce back down. There's possibility. All things are possible right now. Looks more skewed to the downside. And yeah, no problem for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna end the stream right here. Thank you once again.